Welcome to Voice Rising with Kara Johnstad. Enjoy weekly conversations with leading luminaries, pioneering visionaries, singers, poets, musicians, and sound healers as we explore the profound role our voice plays on the path to self-realization and global enlightenment. The internationally acclaimed singer, composer, author, healer, recording artist, voice expert, creator of Voice Your Essence, and founder of the School of Voice, Kara Johnstad uses her extraordinary spiritual gifts to empower others. Everything in this world vibrates. Everything has a frequency. A pioneer in the field of voice work and transformational songwriting. Her breakthrough methods are helping thousands of people worldwide fine-tune their body-mind-spirit system and unlock the energetic frequencies of limitless creativity, health, and abundance. Share your voice, ask your questions, join in the conversation. Receive life-changing, positive transformation and rise together to create a sound world. And here's your host, Kara Johnstad.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Voice Rising. I have a very special guest with me in studio today. She is a singer. She's a producer. She is a lyricist, songwriter, educator, and above and beyond all, she is an activist. She fights for things and gives voice to things which are of great importance. Welcome, Jocelyn B. Smith.
I am so honored. Thank you for having me, Kara. This is a blessed moment. Let's really, really do this. Let's plant.
Exactly, planting the seeds of light. Jocelyn, you have really been on the voice path, the music path, the path of the power of word and message for a long time. I know that you grew up in New York City. What was it like? Where are the roots of your childhood in connection with your path as a musician and as a messenger for goodness?
You know, it started in 1965 when I was 5 years old. And, you know, my mom, we're a middle-class family. You know, we didn't have, like, a lot of money. You know, two working hard parents. And, you know, my mom, she saved the money that she received from babysitting. And she went and purchased my first piano. And, Kara, if you would have seen what that piano looked like, you probably would have been struck with, you know, being speechless. But my mom was so proud of that $100 that she had. And she walked into that little shop, and he said, well, you can't get much with that, but, you know, I think I have something. And she said, she took it all the way in the back. It was like all the way in the back of the shop, probably where the lights weren't working. And he said, well, there you go. And my mom said she took that piano out of there with help from her friends and had the ivory in her hand and the glue in the other hand. So she was actually gluing the ivory back on. I mean, we don't use ivory anymore, but gluing the ivory back on the keys. So, you know, it started like that. That was her dream. You know, my parents, they said, hey, you know, give these kids a discipline, you know, and it might come in handy later. And so then she found my music teacher, who was our choir director in our church, in the Catholic church. So, you know, my startings were very different. So I sang a lot in Latin, but it all started in the church, huh?
Yeah. Well, that's a fantastic story also of how important teachers are and how important parents are to shaping our paths that we're going to go on, right? Talking about paths, you literally, so many people are looking for work that makes their soul want to sing, and you have found it. I mean, you found that calling. So what was the turning point for you that made you realize that you wanted to dedicate your life to voice and to music?
That's a great question because, you know, when we're real honest, Kara, I started off in this race in the entertainment sector of the business. You know, the biggest idols for us at this time in the 70s was Michael Jackson and Earth, Wind and Fire, and such names, Stevie Wonder. This was our way to express ourselves in the black-white America, right? So we know those stories that were going on in the music industry. And, I found my way to Europe. I was invited on tour. Before I left, of course, I had a lot of the pop soul industry, being on the Electric Light Orchestra tour where we were the opening act with Ellen Foley from Meatloaf, playing 300,000 seaters. So I did the whole entertainment part of the business and got to Europe, and I continued with that mindset, getting my music out there. But I noticed that my lyrics were always a little bit different, and that wasn't really attractive for the record company because it wasn't commercial enough. But the thing that turned everything around is, Kara, we have a calling, you feel the calling, and then on the other side, when you're so split, the entertainment industry says, well, that's not commercial enough, maybe you should keep that more to yourself, and, we like you here. So there was like many years of being split, painfully being split, because you had that calling, but you didn't, or I didn't honor it publicly, let's put it like that. And then it came to a point where, how it is, when that calling is strong, it just pulls you right up out of your boots. And when we got hit with the 9/11, that's when I had received the phone call, we would like to have you at the famous Brandenburg Gate. Will you be available? And I knew in the moment when that call came through, I didn't know it was going to come, but when that came, I realized something had shifted. And I had an interview, just before the performance, and it was a daughter of a priest who was a journalist. And she said, well, how do you like knowing your destiny? And of course, my body registered it, so I went completely into shock, but my mind froze. And I said, well, what do you mean? She said, Jocelyn, how does it feel to know that, you've arrived, at your destiny? And somehow I got through the interview, but I was so shocked that I had damn near lost my voice at the end of the interview because it just busted right through that third chakra, right? And I was crying all the way home, and I had, ran to my good friend who was a homeopath, a naturopath here, and she said, hey, Jocelyn, it's less painful when you say yes. And that was the shift in my life when I realized that my voice was being called for something else. And so, of course, standing on the Brandenburg Gate in front of 200,000 people, very swiftly, you ask, how am I supposed to serve? Because I knew what it was about. How am I supposed to serve? And just sing. So I sang the Our Father, and I sang the Amazing Grace. And when you sing, you know that all of that in the etheria, you know that it's pouring down and touching people's hearts. And they just needed a vessel, so they pull us in. They pull you in, Kara, pull me in, pull all these people who are just seed planters, and we're vessels. And it was very clear that I was a vessel at that moment. That was the time.
Yeah, I think it's also, for people that maybe are not so familiar with the Berlin history, the Brandenburg Gate, of course, is a very powerful symbol because it's when you're standing on that stage, I'm assuming you were looking at the angel. I mean, I don't know if you were looking towards the angel was behind, so you're looking towards the east.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, otherwise the angel is, you're looking at it. So you're looking at the victory column, but you also are standing where the wall stood, and the wall, of course, had fallen by then. And you feel this this unification of really people really coming together in a city that has also experienced divide. So it seems like it's just like a double, like a triple effect or something to be singing in that spot. Of course, for a horrendous moment in time for 9/11, but at the same time to see 200,000 people join their hearts together, their prayers together. It's very powerful. And I wanted to say before that, Jocelyn, I think also what a lot of people don't understand was before the internet changed the music industry, the truth is we didn't have much choice. We would not really get distribution unless we played by certain rules, right? So it was a very big conflict, I think, for many artists. Where's their true calling, and how do I bring out records and lyrics and music that reflects who I am, and at the same time have the distribution and have the support that was very necessary from labels. It was, I at least remember from my time that it was not easy to even get in a shop unless you had distribution. And now we're in a situation where we can go into studio, record something, and within 24 hours, it's worldwide distributed, which is phenomenal.
Very true.
Right?
That's right. Coming from the traditional steps, on one side, you're supposed to stay true and pure to your art. And then, just like you said, the technological side, the internet was introduced, and, it came at quite a cost.
Mm-hmm.
Quite a cost. Yeah.
Well, it came at quite a cost in certain financial aspects, but in other ways, there's a renaissance of fresh music and minds and ideas that is exploding, right? Because people in the moment, they are able to choose. Do you want to go with a big label, a small label, your own independent path? And I think that is also a feeding ground for lots of creativity. And
absolutely, like you said, but it also, I'm sure, as this conversation, our interview goes, that we'll be touching on this at a deeper level, but hands down on the table, it was just magnanimous. It was amazing, to be able to, reach almost every corner of the world, every corner that had internet.
Yes.
And now everybody, has it. I'm sure there's some villages and small places where they don't, but you can just say you reach all over the place in one click.
Exactly. So, Jocelyn, you have a project that is dear to your heart, and Roy T. Bennett said, and I quote, "Shine your light and make a positive impact on the world. There is nothing so honorable as helping improve the lives of others," end quote. And you do have a lot of different projects. You're somebody who has done everything from jazz to opera to soul and funk, and now also you have a lot of different projects for social justice. So tell us more about your Shine a Light. It is a new album, I believe, that's coming out, and also your commitments to work with charities and pull in other people as ambassadors to shine their light.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, tomorrow we're going to play the release of the new album. We released it early October, and, we tried to get a little urban, how we wrote the title with the UR, Shine Your Light, because everybody says shine your light. But we started in 2015, after several years of me working, outside of Germany, trying to, give my support through music. We were in South Africa with an NGO project, and where we worked together with about 200 children who, were very busy or affected through HIV. And that was incredible work. I mean, just listening to these kids sing, my goodness gracious. I was thinking, well, what am I there for? How am I going to help with voices? These guys are just blowing the tops off of everything. They were incredible. And then, doing some work outside of the country, and then I realized, hey, there's still so much to do, while we were parked here in Germany. So then I moved on over to the homeless center in a part of Berlin, where we started giving, vocal transformational classes, to bring back a part of life, maybe that some people choose to ignore. When you're homeless, it doesn't really mean that, you have to be way outside of the society. I've met some incredible homeless people. When they begin to share their stories, a lot of people have just fallen sick, and then they've lost their jobs. You lose your job, you lose your money, you lose your house, and your ties that kind of hold you to this life in society. So these stories have been incredibly empowering also for me. And then, it brought me to an idea, my goodness, if I'm doing what I'm trying to do, and there's a whole bunch of other people who are doing the same thing like me, there's a lot of people who just, you don't see them. You don't see. I'm not talking about the VIPs. I'm talking about the regular community people, the coach, the guy who drives the neighbors to whichever meeting because their car broke down. It could be the baker, who gets up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning and stands there and gives you your coffee at 7:03 because she knows that's just how you like your coffee, and I was suddenly on fire with all the people that you don't see who make everything move. You know what I mean?
Yes,
yes. They're not standing on the red carpet. They're not getting their pictures taken and put in all of the prominent magazines, but they're just so committed and engaged. So we went on this hunt, in the different cities here in Germany and asking, well, who do you know? Who would you like to, recommend? Who is your Shine a Light ambassador? And shining your light that's when you decide you share a part that you can't even put a price tag on that. You share a part of you. It's so, how can I say, it's so unconditional. It's just absolutely unconditional. These are the people who don't look at their clock. They're very selfless. Did I say the right word? Because my German and the English gets all mixed up.
Selfless. Yeah. Exactly. Let's take a little break. We're going to take a little break, Jocelyn. Hold that thought. We are honoring in this break. Just keep in your heart all the people that shine lights in your life. And we'll be back in a couple of minutes with Jocelyn B. Smith.
The cutting edge of conscious radio, OMTimes Radio, IOM-FM.
OMTimes magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organisation, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. Connect at omtimes.com. OMTimes, creating a more conscious lifestyle.
Thank Kathy Williams, host of Sexy Mom Abundant Life radio show on Thursdays at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. On the show, we explore living abundantly in every area of your life. Ways to let go of limiting patterns and beliefs and to step into the flow of creativity and possibility, knowing you are supported by the universe.
With happy clients all over the world, Kara Johnstad knows that your voice is the missing link to more authenticity, abundance, creativity, and health. An internationally acclaimed voice expert, Kara's breakthrough methods have helped thousands of people successfully heal their voice wounds and extinguish the story of self-doubt and shyness forever. Join in group trainings, attend online sessions, schedule one-on-one time, and invite Kara to work with your organization and community. Get started today. Go to www.karajohnstad.com and receive a special guided meditation designed to fine-tune your inner voice and welcome you on the voice journey.
Why was the basketball court all wet? Because the players kept dribbling on it.
The dad joke. Corny, grown-worthy, but also one of the simplest ways to share a moment with your kids.
What did the buffalo say when he dropped his son off for school? Bye, son.
So take a moment to make your kid laugh, because dad jokes rule. Make your kid laugh today. Go to fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Voice Rising. I am your host, Kara Johnstad, and with me in the studio today is singer, producer, educator, and peace activist Jocelyn B. Smith, and we are talking about the transformational power of voice and music as a message for our world. And we just left off with Shine Your Light. This is Jocelyn's newest album, but it's not only an album, I would say it's a lifestyle. That's what I would say. It's a lifestyle to inspire people not only to shine their own lights, but to gather together and to realize that it's the heroes. I thought that was beautiful, Jocelyn, that you said that. You know, it's the person who hands you that coffee while you're standing, getting ready to get on that bus, and maybe it's that perfect coffee that you need on the corner, or who rakes your leaves when you might have sprained your ankle, and it might be that neighbor boy, or it might be the church choir leader, or it's all those people that make this world a better place, right? So
it's all those people, and those are the people that it's very easy to just kind of walk by and not take it in, because we have so much that we're so busy with, or what we allow ourselves to be so busy with, and we forget to look at those little things, like the shop that you like to go and get your groceries at. There's a reason why you like that. Not only because it's located perfectly on the corner, but you like the style that's in there, you feel comfortable, you like the team, it's about opening up the eyes again,
Right, exactly. Jocelyn, I want to give our listening audience a taste of your music, and you wrote a song that talks about getting involved and talks about also what each of us can reflect upon. What do we want to leave behind for the people that we love, that they would remember us, and what do we want to give back to the world? So I'd like to play the ballad, What Did I Do While I Was Here? Would you like to say a few words about this song before we play it?
Yeah, I would. Before we jump into that, I forgot. Excuse me, Kara. I forgot to share, the chorus that's on "Shine a Light."
Yeah.
These words were given to me. You know how it is. Sometimes we sit like for an hour or 2 hours. Sometimes we sit for a week. Sometimes we sit for a month, waiting for this text to come in. But when the lyrics just pour down on you within minutes, you know which wavelength you're on. So these lyrics were in the refrain, shine a light for those who don't understand. And I was so blown away because that was the first line. It was talking about forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
It just pulled the wallpaper off the walls. Shine a light for those who don't understand. Shine a light for those who can. Shine a light. This is our greatest chance. And if I forget, please remind me to shine a light. And I was blown away by the magnitude of the lyrics. Shine a light for those who don't understand. These are people, they're not dumb. Sometimes we're so quick to call somebody stupid. Maybe they didn't have the exposure or the environment to show them how.
Right.
Just to show them how to love, how to share, how to be kind, how to be tolerant, how to enjoy diversity. And then the second line, shine a light for those who can. Those are the ones, who serve that coffee to you, with that smile, even when their feet are really hurting or when their body is like completely in pain, they're still there and serve you well. The people who don't look at their clock. Then you have, this is our shine a light, this is our greatest chance. And Kara, that's no secret. We know that we're on a ticking clock right now. And we're on the pinnacle point where it's really about us turning this thing around. It is our spiritual, historical greatest chance. And if I forget, please remind me to shine a light. That means when all the negativity, you just feel like you're just drowning underneath it because it's just nonstop. Just remember, hold your head up, keep shining the light. Keep shining the light no matter what. So that was there. And then you had just kindly asked me about what did I do while I was here. This was very beautiful because I had set myself in a meditation, and you as myself, you practice. And this was a meditation on dying, to imagine yourself in your casket, and that you're able to see all the people that are coming into that chapel or wherever you have them gathered, wherever they're gathered. And you're looking around, of course, in your etheric body, you're looking around, and you're looking at all the people coming in. And then it's time for them to speak about your life. What do they say? And that's where these words, they came just in a flow. What did I do while I was here? You wish that they say, oh, she was a beautiful person, very loving, caring, whatever. And then there's someone, no, well, maybe not, Kind of got on my nerves, let's think about this. And it's really true. Because most of the time, these testimonials, you're hoping that it's always going to be something positive, but what do they really say? And when I wrote it down, I said, what did I do while I was here? I forgot my own text while I have to speak about it. What did I do while I was here? How can I forgot. I already forgot my own text, and I have to.
Okay, we're going to listen to it, Jocelyn. Let's listen to it now. We'll refresh your memory. Let's listen to, right? What Do I Do While I Was Here by Jocelyn B. Smith, and we're all going to just tune in to those beautiful lyrics. Here we go.
What did I do while I was here? What's the legend I leave behind? Did I see the things that I could change? Forgive myself, the others not to blame. Did I choose to be right so I stay the same? 'Cause we all have to go sometime. What did I do while I was here? There's a lot of time fixing things on the outside, while all the magic's on the inside. Did I ask who I want to be? stand to help myself.
Jocelyn B. Smith with What Do I Do? I mean, see, what do I do when I'm still here? No, I got that mixed up.
What do I do while I was here? Like,
what do I do while I was here?
Yeah, how did I use my time? Did I support my community? How did I love my family? How did I take care of the planet? You know, what did I do for me? You know, how did I love me? It's like, what did I do with the time on this life journey? You know, how are you spending your time?
Yeah, I say a lot, Jocelyn, this is my earth time, right? It's precious time.
Yeah, but this is where we're planting seeds, you know?
Right.
Especially when we start to wake up to these callings, right? Some of us are called, I mean, of course, most of us called anyway from the day that we're born, but that's part of the earth journey, you know, to kind of experience this playground. It can be very entertaining, you know, but then it kind of kicks in, you know, there's responsibility here as we are learning and enjoying, you know it, you know, to be, what is it, to be in the world and not of it? Did I get it right? You know?
Yes,
you know,
perfect.
Like
yes.
You know, that's what it's about. There's so much to do here. You know, it's very empowering. It's very enlightening. It's very scary sometimes. Breathtaking. Yeah.
What are some of the tools that we have available to unlock our personal power and use it for, I say that very carefully, to unlock our personal power, because there's a lot of power-hungry people that are not using it for good. And I totally get your message of, you know, what are we leaving this world, and I think most of the people that you and I know do want to leave the world in a better place than where we found it. Are there some tools you can suggest to help us to unlock our personal power and to step into that place more actively?
The most powerful tool that I work with, when I'm doing my seminars and workshops, and I also do in our private teaching, the tools that I love, and I have to say, this is the one that rocks the world. Shadow. When you decide to do your shadow work, your shadow work, we know about Sigmund Freud. And when we're talking about the archetypes, you have to go really back to Carl Jung. Carl Jung is one of the fathers here of these archetypes. But what he had also discovered, what is very interesting, he discovered the dark archetypes. And archetypes we know is used very much in our marketing, and all of this, that we have, finding, these beautiful little cookies and everything that we have, and finding the personality traits, and then, when you put on your internet, it's like, maybe you'd like to look at this. But, these are all based on our archetypes, finding out who we are, how we click, and all that, how we tick. So Carl Jung, he discovered also our darker sides. And what is really interesting is that generations ago, your darker side would be more of the things that you would stay so shameful of. People, it's like, the neighbors dare not know about this part, or, the family has to keep it safe, or, and all these things. No, don't let anybody hear about this part. And for generations, we've lived under a very powerful covering, covering up these shadows. The shadows are just breathtaking. What's very beautiful right now, this generation, we're into, hey, in your shadow is your power. You can turn this thing around. Meaning, the very thing that you were shameful of. So let's think about something that you were shameful of. Pull that up, take a look at it, and come on, Kara, we're both, transformers. Let's say somebody who was very shameful of singing. They didn't like their voice. Someone somewhere along the way had told them, hey, your voice is not going to be great. Why are you making this kind of noise? You're squeaking like this, and, it's better that you do something else. Don't sing. We've heard that often enough, right?
Yep. Yes.
So then when someone comes to you and they tell you this, like, I don't like my voice, and then we start to ask, well, what's going on? And they tell you that this is what has happened to them along the way. So they were very shameful. They were brought to that point where they were made to feel shameful, and they learned how to be shameful of this voice by never trusting it again, right? Not opening up anymore, never showing anyone this, beautiful part of them. So when they finally are able to, really get their knees together and say, hey, this is what it was, then you say, or then you find out how it has, like, infiltrated their whole life. It stopped them from doing this. It halted their function for that or whatever, and you'll go into all these different areas. But actually what you find out is that there are other things that have developed along the way. So you'll look for the good part that has happened along the way through the shame. So this sounds a little strange, but the thing is, where you might have blocked yourself off, there was another part of you that grew to take care of the part that you blocked off. It's kind of like how the body works. Like if you sit in a certain position for very many years, the physiological part, it's just incredible, our bodies. The body tries to make up the difference with another muscle, even though you're holding the body wrong, but it will still try to support the muscle that it feels, where it needs strength. So there's something that's good that happens inside of the mismanagement part, or this part that's out of balance.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what you look for. And when
Jocelyn, I think we have to take a break. Hold that thought, Jocelyn. Sorry about that. We're gonna talk more about the shadow side. We're gonna hold that thought, the shadow side, and also what's developing, so that we can really transform our lives. We'll be back in a couple of minutes.
Bringing a more conscious lifestyle to your world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Ascending Hearts is no ordinary dating site, but a spiritual dating site with a purpose, to link you with your soulmate. We engineer the serendipity so you can trust that you will attune with someone that has the same matching vibration as you. Ascending Hearts, the conscious dating site for the spiritually aware. Try Ascending Hearts for free. AscendingHearts.com.
Hello, I'm Sandy Sedgbeer, host of OMTimes Magazine's flagship radio show, What is Going On? My passion is sifting through information, research, and innovations from new thought teachers, speakers, and researchers, pushing back the boundaries of what we know about life, energy, metaphysics, and the universe. I love shifting perceptions about who we are, why we're here, and how quickly impossible becomes normal when we open our minds, expand our awareness, and accept that the only limits that exist are those we place upon ourselves. So if you're the kind of forward-thinking, eager investigator of what lies beyond the current reality that most perceive, why not make a date to come play with me in the field of possibilities at 4 p.m. Pacific Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time every Thursday, and together we can discover what's really going on.
Imagine being fired because of who you love. Imagine being denied medical treatment because of who you marry. Imagine being evicted because of who you are. Millions of Americans don't have to imagine this. They have to live it. Because in 31 states, it's legal to discriminate against LGBT people. Get the facts at beyondido.org. Brought to you by the Gill Foundation and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Voice Rising. I'm your host, Kara Johnstad, and with me in studio today is singer, producer, educator, and peace activist Jocelyn B. Smith, talking about the transformational power of voice and music as a message for our world. And we were just talking about the transformational power of understanding the archetypes and understanding also our shadow side and how that can actually nurture and nourish. It's almost like a womb, I would say, right, Jocelyn? Is that you were talking about how often very good things are growing alongside of that shadow or in that shadow,
right?
That we might not be aware of because we're so identified with that hurt or that wound or that shame that we're not even aware that our gift might lie right in the middle of that heaviness or that darkness or that sadness.
That's right. I like how you said that, the heaviness and the darkness, because in the darkness, that's actually where the nurturing happens. Now, this is the other side of the shadow. In the quietness, in the dirt. When you plants don't. Not all plants grow like straight in the light. There has
right.
to be a seed. There has to be roots. There has to have quiet time for birthing, nurturing, getting all of those minerals out of the dirt. The dirt what is the dirt? The dirt is everything that's all dead and, everything, and then it turns to rich soil. So, all of that negative things, when you look at it, it can be very enriching when you allow yourself to go into the stillness, the quietness, and learn to be courageous step by step, of course, lovingly, with wonderful coaches and people to be by your side and help you go through, to look at that, and you can find amazing gifts inside of there. So, what is it? Being shameful, shadow side, not wanting to be alone, like things that are very embarrassing. Like when I just share something about me, my music was always outside of what they called, commercials. So for very, very many years, it was painful. You're rocking and you're having a great time, and then you're hearing from major labels, nope, your music sounds too live. Well, Dad, it has to be live because we got to deliver. You sound great on plastic in the studio, but, you got to kick it, when you hit, the stage. So for many years, this was very, very painful for me. So when I go inside of that shadow, it's like, not feeling good enough, not feeling accepted enough, that my music is not good enough, and just like really banging the self, over the head, then you find out inside of that what has developed: a strength to be truthful to myself, even stronger in my self-empowerment process. I grew very authentically, creatively. So all of these things, I had to come to learn to understand that, Kara. So that shame was very many years, and now you see what developed outside of, what just developed inside of that, and that shadow now has turned out to be powerful in such a great way, that it lights up, the direction, the street that I go down, so, I'm sure we'll talk about it later. That's the new initiative, the SOS, Songs of Substance initiative. So
yeah, we can dive into that, Jocelyn. You do have a new brainchild. It's a fantastic SOS. It's saving so many artists out there. SOS, also known as Songs of Substance. And we know as artists, and we also know as listeners, that there have been songs throughout history that have really changed our lives, and they have powerful messages. And luckily, the music industry has supported those songs, but they weren't enough, right? They weren't maybe enough songs. So tell us a little bit more about Songs of Substance and why it's so dear to your heart.
Yeah, this is really cool because this is really the shadow work at its ultimate. Check this out. Those songs that artists write, these are coming from personal journeys. When you're really listening to the songs with messages, those messages, you can feel it. You feel it the moment that you just get inside of the text, those lyrics. These are personal journeys. And what are personal journeys, Kara? These are when our knees have hit the floor, when our heads have hit the wall, where we felt that there was no way out, on and on and on, personal journeys. And this is actually what makes a full-blown, blue-blooded artist. When you can find that commitment where you can stay honest with, the productions, the music. I think the music is already fine. But when you can stay honest with the text, and some of the music, some of the text that we have right now is just, it's not going anywhere. This SOS has come to me, in the time while I was producing my album, because I took a little bit more time. I took 2.5 years to produce this album, and I didn't want to change the audience, so I wanted to go through every genre of music, that, I have personally been in, so, to go and find my audience in the pop area, go and find the audience in the soul area, go and find it in the epic area, mainstream. So I have all these styles, not because of confusion, but I felt that in order to get the audience, where I could reach the audience with this deep text, I think I have to go to the area where they are. So I found songs in mainstream or pop, and I found text that fit exactly that part of the production. When I went into, there's a beautiful piece of Something We Know that was going back to our roots, innately, intuitively. There are things that we're just in the knowing of, but we just don't trust anymore. So I felt that this was a direction that had just been kind of lost. There are some artists that are writing like this. You write like this. There's a lot of people who write like this, but the mat is not wide enough. We need to take more space for that because of why? When you look at this ticking clock, and, no matter whose opinions about Greta von Thunberg, we've heard it from all over the planet that we have just brought ourselves really to the maximum of what we can do to this planet. We don't need to go farther than this, and the ticking clock is about 9 or 10 years, and you can hear it all over the place. This is nothing that I'm making up. And then I realized, my goodness gracious, what really is the role of music in society? So that's the basis of SOS. And I went to my school director at the university, and I said, I want to give a seminar. I want to have a workshop and ask the students in this music school, do they understand that? What is the role? So it was completely packed. All these students were in there, and we talked and discussed this thing. We worked about 5 hours, and now I officially teach the SOS course. So it's about developing, supporting artists with substance, to support them to be strong enough, to be truthful enough to their art, to share their personal journeys, their personal stories, their journeys that can help uplift and motivate and inspire the world. Because it's the world, it's the people in it. It is our spiritual, historical chance within the next 9 to 10 years to turn this place around. And and Kara,
no, continue. Yeah.
There's another level I know that you're with me on. You know the power of music. We know it from the brain research. We know how it works in the electrical, system of the body. We know how it works spiritually through the whole body. We've already done this years ago. And if enough of us can come together on this planet and start writing songs of substance that resonates with the heart and resonates with our body, we will start behaving, acting, doing differently.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I saw it, I think it was a few days ago, it popped into my email, and I said, that's it. Go, that's it. I think you're right on it. It's music penetrates down to our bones, and there's something about music which is so precious, is that it's our own personal journey, but it's a collective journey. And when we can create a singing revolution, and words are powerful. They are messengers. And I know from my own experience dealing with the shadow sides and the what we were talking about before, what's so phenomenal is that when we speak our truth and it's so deep, we are shaking, and then we give it to an audience and they receive it with listening ears, and somehow we get freer in that moment because they start to also be able to hold space for that healing to happen. And it's so phenomenal, this ability that we have as a world to heal. And I do agree that music is an instant thing. Jocelyn, I want to have you back on the show. I have only touched on a few things that I had on my list, so I hope that you come back.
Thank you so much. I'll be back. Bless you.
Yeah.
Namaste.
Okay, you guys check out Jocelyn B. Smith. She has a new release out there. She's also doing Songs of Substance, SOS, and also the Shine Your Light, and a great inspiration. So we'll see her again on the show. Blessings, Jocelyn.
Blessings, Kara.